braid my hair. Like, I'm done acknowledging people like, oh my gosh, why do you braid your hair? You should do 5,000 other hairstyles. You know why I braid my hair? It's because I have this thing. I believe in a style that works for you. I know some people are like, you should try 5,000 different hairstyles because that's best. But I've tried out other hairstyles. Look, I like space buns, I like double braids, but I really with wavy hair that can curl up into itself, I have to comb my hair to perfection that day to put that hairstyle in my hair. And an easier, just fun, simple, quick hairstyle that doesn't put tension on my scalp because wearing my hair up with a mask and glasses, that puts tension on my scalp. It's just a braid. Although sometimes I'm like, yeah, I probably should start putting my braids up again, but I hate all that tension. I just don't like to pin things to my head anymore. I was doing the crown braid for a long time, but like some people, they just put a couple of hair sticks and they're good to go. But I would feel like it was slipping, so I would pin it down too much. And I just came to the conclusion that updos aren't really that great for me. And I know all the people are going to say, oh, but if you're good at updos, like you can do this and that. But they just didn't feel good because if something doesn't feel secure, it feels worse because you feel like it's sliding on your head. And I just love a braid because it's there. And I feel like it's not sliding around on my head. I do like crown braid and I do like space buns, but I just do those hairstyles much less often. And I think that's fine for me. But if you want to do like updos and side braids and side ponytails and any multiple type of hairstyle every day or several times a week, you should go for it. I just think that having a signature go-to hairstyle that you know works for you is great. And people do that anyway. Like a lot of the popular trendy hairstyles actually all kind of look similar, even though people say when you go to get your hair done, it looks so unique. A lot of people end up getting a similar hairstyle that is like some sort of long layered haircut. So it's just funny because people are like, well, if you do this, this, and this, your hair will be so unique. It's going to be so different than everybody else's hair. And I'm like, is it really? Not really, but people can say something that doesn't necessarily mean it's true. People say a lot of things, People say a lot of things. So I thought about trying a different kind of multi-strand braid. You need a lot of space cushion. Like for me, I am legit straight up honest about long hair. I guess some people they don't need their space cushion and they rush, but I think that can cause hair breakage. In my case, I'm very conscious about my hair and I'm not gonna do something just to do it. That's why every time I like try to do one of these new multi-strand braid hairdos, they look pretty, but it just doesn't feel right. And I feel like a lot of people, they kind of will guilt trip you to the hill to land them back. They'll be like, well, you just need to practice more. And I'm like, okay, I got up, detangled my hair, and then like it can put more tangles in your hair. And a lot of these people don't have wavy hair, okay? They just don't. And if you have anything in the texture from wavy to curly hair, it gets more tricky. And my hair is past knee length, it's calf length. So I feel like every time I try one of these new hairstyles like that one, it seems like a cool concept, but I'm like, anything where you can't solidly hold all the strands doesn't feel good to me. So I want to give you permission not to practice French braids or anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. Like, I'm just like, why? Why are there all these hair bullies, They're like, you need to do multiple hairdos. No, you don't. Like, I just like to share, like, why I don't like. And I know a lot of people, there's some people that are like, I only do my hair in a ponytail because that's the one hairdo I feel comfortable doing. And it's not that I haven't done other braids before. It's just like this multi-strand braid thing, you really have to have a lot of precision with it. And it doesn't feel super precise if you have to keep dropping strands. I don't care what anybody says about that sort of thing. It's just weird that people are so judgy about the way people braid hair. They're judgy about everything, you know? And I don't like it. Like I start looking and I'm like, so I start doing a multi-strand braid and I just don't like it because it doesn't have that smooth factor. Like I want the smoothness. I want it to stay intact. And I'm just like, no, 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 no. You know, it's just like I'm gonna go back. Like, okay, so I tried doing their whole idea of the multi-strand braid, but it doesn't have that smooth factor that I crave because you have to be able to hold everything super tight. It has to be super controlled, and I feel like it causes tangles. And I just am like, why? Why would I want to spend like a half an hour detangling my hair just to do something that's gonna retangle it? That's just stupid, like to me. So, like, I'm disappointed every time I try a multi-strand braid because I would have to have a lot of time to do that right. Yeah, I just feel like it causes a lot of tangles in your hair. And then it almost defeats the purpose of having gone through my hair to try and detangle it, like to create more tangles. As you can see, I'm anti-tangle. I feel like this is my thing. People want the long hair, they want the look of the long hair, but they don't realize that in order to have long hair, you have to maintain your long hair and keep it tangle free so you don't get split ends and whatnot. And they're so like ignorant. Like there's a lot of ignorance out there about what it takes to maintain your hair, especially if it's wavy. And I know what it takes because I have the hair. And these people that want the hairdo, they don't know anything. They don't have long hair. And even if they do, like maybe their hair is like straight and it works for them. So at the end of the day, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna try that because it doesn't look all smooth at the top like I like. And that's another thing too, where I will never try to French braid again because people are so like judgy. Like, who wants the judgmental crowd? They'll be like, it doesn't look smooth up at the top, and you're like, that's why we don't do those kind of braids around here, or I don't anyway, because I'm like, it doesn't have that nice smooth factor I like. And if you're gonna just I'm just like, I don't see the point of practicing something that I don't like. It'd be like practicing hang gliding or how to shoot a gun. Like, I don't want to be a marksman. I don't want to go hang gliding. I don't want to, like, you could practice all those things, but I have no interest. I'm kind of like at the point that, maybe French braiding looks nice, and I'm not saying I won't do a multi-strand braid. I just don't like how at the top, it doesn't get nice and smooth. And you want it to stay smooth so it stays intact all day. That's my whole thing. I want the one hairdo per day style. So I'm not fiddling with my hair all day to prevent breakage. Like, that's why I wear my hair in a braid, to keep it intact. And sometimes my braids last for 2 days. I kept a braid in my hair for 3 days the other day. That's where long hair starts taking less time because you can keep your hair in a braid if you're not going anywhere. And you can work on things. Like for me anyway, that's how I get more time, is like finding a hairdo that will keep my hair tangled. Like, you still have to detangle your hair after it's been in a braid. The thing I don't like about the multi-strand braid is like it already made my hair kind of tangle up again. I don't like that. So it might look pretty, but I'm like, I'm not that interested in a hairstyle that causes tangles. And I don't think this is even complaining. This is just the truth. If you have wavy hair, it has a different texture. And the waviness of it, it wants to curl up into each other. It's not like straight, sleek hair where it just falls. Like, it's a different texture. And there's a lot of people, they're kind of elitist in the hair world. Like, they think, oh, if your hair doesn't have that texture, then, like, why not? Like, I've even seen men, like, there are some men, like there's this long hair elitism where they think women have to have pin straight hair. And I speak up and out against this every day because it's very Eurocentric, by the way, where they tell women that they have to flat iron their hair to have this very straight Western European look to their hair, like, or that like only blonde hair is acceptable. It's just like, I hate all that Eurocentric stuff, like where, like, there's still racism in long hair. That's why I feel like, okay, ethnic hair, like, especially like with African American, and this is just something I've noticed all along, like people with textured hair, like people used to tell them, oh, you should flat iron your hair. And I really hate the whole flat ironing trend. Like, if you like it, good, but it like really destroys your hair. And I really hated because there would just always be these people who would act like if your hair wasn't stick straight, that it wasn't interesting or fun. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I know like a lot of Asian people have straight hair too, but it wasn't from that aesthetic. It was kind of like this Eurocentric aesthetic where it had to be blonde and it had to be straight. And there used to be this one guy, he would tell me I needed to straighten my hair and it would look better. And I'm like, no, I don't. Like, just go find your own beeswax. Like, go back to your side of the internet. We don't need you here, You know what I'm saying? Just like, it's so weird. Like, and why do I speak up and out against that stuff? It's because I think a lot of people, when they hear somebody say that, they're going to think, oh my God, like, I need to do that because that person said that would look better. This is the thing. It's their preference. Is it your preference? Like, I personally, this is my thing. I never wanted to have straight hair. And I didn't even really like, occasionally I like the way my hair looked loose. But as time evolved, I started to really love the way my hair looked in a braid. And I'm not anti-intricate braid. It's just with my hair's texture and wanting to curl up into everything, I'm like, I don't think that's a good hairdo for someone like me. That's all, you know? But that's another thing I hate about the whole straightening iron. And like another thing too, they say when they say silky hair, it's okay. This is more Eurocentrism because people with ethnic hair, their hair doesn't look like that. Okay, I think their hair is just as beautiful. It's like it can be coily and curly, and it's not gonna reflect light the same way like pin straight hair does. Okay, and a lot of hair where it looks really shiny, it has to do with the lighting. It's not your hair per se, because anything can look dull in certain lighting, but get high light and it creates more shine. And there are a lot of tricks that people use in photography to make their hair look a certain way, and it's much easier to achieve a certain look. So then I tell people they should get extensions or they should flat iron their hair. And like it just gets into this realm of promoting a lot of unnatural things that I don't like. Like I don't feel unless you want to. I mean, if you want to curl your hair and you want to flat iron your hair and you enjoy that aesthetic, then whatever. You know, I don't think it's the most healthy thing for your hair personally. Like I personally don't. I got rid. Like I have a blow dryer, but I haven't used it since 2014, and I didn't even use it on my hair. We got it just because I don't know why we got it actually, but it's practically brand new in the box, and I've never used it on my hair before that. Back when I used to go to the hair salon, like over 10 years ago, I used to have like a curling brush, and I was trying this thing where I was trying to do like a curling hairdo because my hair can really hold a curl. It didn't even need hairspray. Like that's how much my hair can hold a curl. And back then I had like I don't know shoulder to mid back length long layered haircut, but I hated how damaging the heat would be from that tool. So I threw it away. Like I threw away my curling iron. I mean, maybe I shouldn't have. I kind of thought like I regretted it at first, but I just threw them away because I felt like at that time I was beginning to want to grow my hair really long. And when I was younger, I never used heat tools on my hair, and it was always like other women who made me feel like I needed to use heat tools on my hair. And you know, it's not like I mean I love my friends and all, but if I hadn't have been a stronger person back in the day, I had one friend, like she just thought into the aesthetic that if your hair wasn't like pinned straight or you didn't blow dry it straight or like she would say like, oh, it looks better when it's straight. And I'm like, I just began to resent that she felt that way. And it's not her personally, it's just like she's very into like certain aesthetics and those things are very important to her. Whereas I always liked hair with its natural texture. Like, I don't know, I love curls. Like when I was young, I always thought curly hair was so beautiful. Like, and I liked when I discovered at a young age my hair could hold a curl. And my dad didn't take the best care of his hair, but he did have long hair and it was curly. And like, I don't know, like I thought that was so awesome that his hair was curly. Like, I'm like, I want my hair to be curly too. Like, I was never one of these people who wanted to straighten my hair. And I don't equate like straightening your hair with like beauty because actually in the past people used to curl their hair more or wear it in braids more, and it's just like there's always a new idea about what's so beautiful. So anytime like some guy would come to my channel and say your hair looks better with a brush out or you should flatten iron your hair, I'm like I kind of ignored him because whatever works for him. But I noticed like he had this obsession with flat ironing and bleaching the heck out of hair, and how hair had to be pinned straight, and I just had this like, you know, I have nothing against European culture because I'm part white too. It can be really beautiful, but it's when you start like saying that people have to look the certain way. And in the past, like people didn't do that. People used to braid their hair throughout Europe. They used to have like people, not everybody had pin straight hair in Europe. People had curly hair. There used to be a time that curly hair was like actually valuable. And now people do want curly hair again sometimes, but they have to flat iron their hair first and they can curl it in a way that's not natural. I'm just like, there's all these different things. And to me, it's kind of like hair theater. So anyway, who knows like what people want to do with their hair. I don't like hair personally. I'm not gonna say like, oh my god, you can't do that with your hair. I just personally don't think it's all that exciting. Now, at this point, if I had more time, maybe I would braid my hair to here and then try doing the 4-strand braid. There's nothing wrong with it. I think it can be really beautiful. I just don't like how at the top of the braid it starts tangling because it's not like you have to hold it so taut, and if you don't have like control over it, and if I'm gonna put my hair in a hairdo, I want it to stay all day. Like that's another thing I was gonna talk about. Purposely making your hairstyles look messier. I'm like, what is the point of that? I don't know. I kind of hate it because I'm like, if you had a really polished, put together braid, parts of it are gonna fall out during the day anyway. Why are people like purposely like making their braids look like they've already been through the wind or something? Because I'm like, isn't that gonna make your hair like harder to manage throughout the day? But then maybe change your hairdo a lot. And it's a lot of fiddling with the hair that I don't like. I feel like the whole point is you don't want to be over manipulating your hair so it can grow, you know? So these are all my thoughts on hair. Like a lot of people love to constantly brush their hair, restyle it, change it up. I don't. I don't feel like you have to constantly change it up. Like I do different hairstyles when I have time and I feel like it. Like I do some pretty cool double braids and stuff, but I have to be in the mood, like totally, and like I have to feel like I have a lot of time, and I don't know, things have kind of changed in my life where, oh, like I used to not have to clean the house from top to bottom by myself, but lately, like I have more responsibilities in my life, like food prep, working, like many hours a week, having to clean the house, still do my YouTube channel. And I'm not one of these people that thinks, oh, I have to have like an edited video because I would probably never make videos if they all had to be edited. You know? I'm just gonna share what I feel like sharing. Anyway, that's just kind of my consciousness thoughts here. Some stream of consciousness thought for you. I think like braiding your hair is better than meditation. You know why? Can we just be real here? I think meditation's overhyped. Like if a lot of people want to meditate or they do this and they do that, but you know what? It's just about doing things that make you relaxed. And I always have. But I also can be very like passionate and I'm like fiery on top for myself. Like anytime somebody criticizes me for not being more chill and meditative, I'm like, it's because they're not in touch with different personality types. Like they only know about one thing or one modality. And I'm like, if you want to meditate, go ahead. But I'm like, I don't think it should be mandatory, and I don't think that's what makes you feel better, honestly. Like, to me, I think you just need an activity, like, where you can focus on something. Like, if I'm not talking, braiding can be, like, meditative. That's my feelings on it. And I don't know if always being relaxed is a good thing either, because I feel like this whole relaxed thing, people that are relaxed, I feel like they lack, like there's nothing wrong with relaxing, but I've noticed like it's kind of a catch-all for not being super empathetic, for not having like a drive to maybe be more compassionate, like things like it just seems like maybe you're a little too chill, like you know. There's nothing you shouldn't stress about everything, but I feel like I've noticed like some people they're like, oh, I need to go like pee really chill. And it's always like kind of weird because it's like, I don't know, like they're very focused on being super chill, but they don't seem like concerned about other things. Like, I don't know, it's kind of like they're very too focused, maybe. It's just weird, in my opinion. So maybe just the balance is it's good to be passionate. It's good to be like, I'm not even like type A. I care so much about things. And I realize you want to be like someone who cares about things. You don't want to be like the kind of person that's like, oh, I've checked out on life. Like, all that matters is like if I feel good in the moment. Like that's weird. It's instant. I don't know. Like the whole meditation thing. Is it the instant gratification? Is it not being able to think about the present, past, and future? Is it not having an expansive mindset? I don't know. These are my thoughts. Like I don't think that you need to meditate to be a more centered person. Like I think the people that are more real deal, like living in the light of the truth, like to me, like the more honest you are about every aspect of your life, like to me, those are the people that are like really with it. They're transparent. I feel like transparent people are the people to look up to. Like I like the transparency people. I think seeing the whole meditation thing, not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's another thing where it's just people in the West like trying to appropriate, like, and there's something wrong with doing things from other cultures, but it's just kind of weird when, like, do we really understand like Zen meditation? Not really. Like, I feel like it's something you would have to spend years studying and really, like, I don't know, maybe you would have to go live in the mountains with Buddhist monks to really understand these things in great detail. I don't think doing some meditation on your Fitbit, like I did the meditation on the Fitbit, that's not really like deep, hardcore meditation. Those are more just like breathing exercises. And there was some other meditation, like I did a mechanical Turk meditation, like think, breathe in and out. And what if you just can't meditate? I don't think that's bad. Like maybe this is just real, okay? Like so I tried doing this meditation study because I got paid to do it through a university where you had to breathe in and out. It was one of these things on Mechanical Turk where you could make money doing these little academic studies. So you had to listen to this tape, you had to breathe like a certain way, like and try and clear your mind. And then they like kind of guilt trip you, like if you don't clear your mind, what if you just start laughing? And I'm like, sometimes I think meditation takes itself way too seriously. Like, is it really that serious? Like, it's funny because they're like saying we're so zen and zone, and I'm like, are you? Or are you just putting on a show? And at the end of the day, I'm not the biggest fan of meditation because I'm like, I'd rather draw. Like, you can get the same feelings of elation and joy from walking, drawing, braiding your hair. You don't need to meditate. And to me, like, I'm not ever going to be one of those people who can just sit there and empty my mind. Like, I think. And that's actually what I love about myself. And that's when you have to start being so hardcore, full throttle yourself. Like, accepting yourself, knowing that there's other ways to be balanced and you don't need to just do what everybody else is doing. So, yes, I tried to meditate on Fitbit and maybe I laughed at the meditation exercise. And you know what? If it works for you, great. But I've been kind of disappointed with the Fitbit anyway because I'm like, I walk a lot, but I just feel like the Fitbit, it tracks like your arm moving up and down. And I found out my Google walking thing did a better job. So I felt like I bought an overpriced watch. That's kind of what I felt like. I wasn't that excited about the Fitbit. And my mom's like, did you pay $300 for a Fitbit? I'm like, me? Pay $300 for a Fitbit? No, I bought the $80 one at Walmart. Me, I'm not gonna pay. Like I do Walmart Family Mobile. I could have thrown this like $100. Like, and I have a $25. Like, I'm not that Fitbit $300 Fitbit person, or I'm just like, it was a very simple Fitbit, but I'm not that excited by it. Like, It's okay, but I mean, I kind of like the idea that what it does is I feel like if you don't really move around, and I might wear it again today, but I still feel like my Google Tracker like can track my steps more accurately than the Fitbit, where I start shaking my arm up and down, and Fitbit says I'm stepping. Although here's the thing, like Fitbit's supposed to track movement, and it says overall movement is what's good. And then people get really fixated on steps, and they're like, but steps are what count, but it's the whole idea of physically moving. So I think the Fitbit's good, like if you tend to be a really sedentary like person and you need a reminder, I don't know, to like move around a bit more maybe, then yeah, I think Fitbit's a great idea. But Fitbit does have a limitation. It's not perfect. It's, you know, it could be better, I think. It's not the best thing I've ever used. Just my honest opinion. But yeah, here, my hair is in a braid. I don't know, like, where I was going with all this. Well, I kind of know. I'm on this quest to, like, speak up and out about things that I feel like I wasn't strong enough cookie to speak up and out about previously. Like that's the thing. I feel like I just never stood up for myself enough, and nobody really has to do that. But the reason I'm doing that is because, like, I don't know, I just feel like there's a lot of crap out there, a lot of like opinions. It's an opinion factory, really. Like where people will tell you something you do is not good enough, and I just had to like after having experiences or look, I'm an adult woman, but it's weird like when you have other people try to like make you feel like the way you think is not good enough and that you need to do this and they try to act like they're better at something than you. And I think you need to go back on that and be like, well, no, buddy, you're just anytime somebody tells you that they're doing something better than you and that they have life on lockdown, it's kind of weird. It's very strange because it's deflection is what it is. Or projection, really. Like they have some sort of insecurity in their life, so they're trying to make you feel insecure. So I don't know. I just felt like I felt better talking out about it because I'm like, you don't really have to accept like when somebody criticizes you. You can just be like, okay, like unless it's something real. Like if it was something real, like let's say you're doing some sort of presentation and your colleague is giving you like tips on how to present yourself better. But if somebody's just getting down on you and telling you that your personality isn't as cool as theirs and like they do this, it's weird and it's not good. And you want people that build you up every day all the way, that look for the good things in you, like in all times. Like you don't need, and I feel like maybe people would be happier if we just started like anytime, like especially with the internet, if you see people criticizing other people, I don't know, like I just feel like those people are not helpful people. And what are they doing there on the internet criticizing other people? If they were truly confident and balanced and happy, then they'd be out on a meditation retreat in Bali or something. They wouldn't be on the YouTube telling people that they need to meditate better because they live some balanced life and you aren't balanced like they are. And it's just weird. Like, and it's okay not to always be super chill too. Like you don't always have to be like zoning out and be like, oh, I'm just thinking about the flowers. Well, I do think about the flowers, but you know what I'm saying? Some of this is just westernization of ideas that people in America and maybe Britain don't really understand. Like we might think we understand what meditation is, but you know, we're not Deepak Chopra. Like I can guarantee the casual user of the Fitbit, and I tried the meditation, I don't think they understand what meditation really is. Like my dad probably knows more about meditation because he was in Thailand when he was in the military, and he like actually went to like different areas. Like he talked to people. Like he didn't go on a meditation retreat, but he might understand more about it. And he never bragged about meditation. Like he just seemed to know things about Zen rock gardens from talking to people in Thailand, and he was really into that. That's not my thing. Like I don't pretend to be that person, but if you want to, that's fine. But if you really are that person, you're not like criticizing other people, it's actually kind of anti-meditation, isn't it? Because if you're so like zoned, you wouldn't be telling people that you meditate. Anyway, I'm just going on a kind of a ranty rant thing, I think. Because I felt like ranting today about various issues. So, this is my grand conclusion. Anytime somebody tries to criticize you or tell you something that you're doing is not good enough, or they say, oh, you don't look like you are doing this, like they just make an off comment saying, oh, how can you be sitting there looking like that? Just walk away and smile into the day, because real people don't do that. Like real kind people, they don't do that. And that is insecure people who do that. Insecure people tear people down, and they don't do it in like real obvious ways. They don't call people names, but they're kind of passive aggressive about it. So yeah, and I think as quieter types, we accept that too much, and I think a lot of people on the internet or just in society in general, like it's kind of become cultural currency where people think this is okay to just like, look, you don't like the way somebody else is doing something, and if you're so good and so confident, so happy with yourself, you wouldn't be criticizing somebody. You just want it. You'd be a strong cookie building other people up. Are you a strong cookie? Are you building someone else up, or are you just being ignorant? You're being ignorant. And I finally had peace because I realized how, like, even as an adult, like, I kind of fell for stupid comments from people. And I'm like, you're never going to change people who are insecure, but the hallmark of an insecure person is they're going to try to tear you down. And they don't, I think the most insidious kind is they're not even blatant, like your enemies, like people who just don't like you or are really competitive with you. Like they might actually have more, they might not be your best friend, but they actually might be just more like, oh, I'm competitive, because they admire something about you, even though they kind of resent that you have like success in a certain area. Like people that are competitive with each other like that, like they might have like real criticism, whereas somebody who's like insecure, they're gonna criticize something stupid like, why are you sitting like that? Oh, that doesn't look good. You look awkward the way you're sitting. By the way, nobody can sit awkward. Nobody can look awkward the way that they're standing. Nobody looks awkward. We're gonna stand up for ourselves all the way. I'm still over the passive aggressive thing. Like I want people to feel confident, and I found my confidence in 2021. It's all about speaking up to narcissists and passive aggressive people, and they do not rule your day. The end of the story. Ama to love.